circling the uncirclable,
Connecting the disconnected,
making the vague known.
and the known vague.
Boof.
Christian.
Stimulating every unused neuron in your brain, we bring a new type of enlightenment.
We bring the big think.
We welcome you to the Big Think, where we only bring you the biggest of things.
What is a big think, Boof? What is a big think?
I think that one of the biggest things that we've had recently is a critique of Impressionist art in the modern day.
I think that's a pretty big think myself, and I've been thinking on it. It's a horrible thing. Impressionist art is a horrible thing.
You were taught otherwise, and we're here to dispel the myths and re-educate you.
And that's what critiques are all about, is dispelling myths and re-education.
Speaking of re-education and re-education camps, I know you've heard that term before, and it conjures horrible thoughts of authoritarianism and fascism, right?
Yeah.
But Impressionist art is the lead-in to those things.
I mean, if you think about it, Impressionist art came about in the 1860s, right? And Mussolini came up with fascism in the 1930s.
Do you know who was born around the 1860s? Hitler's dad was born in the 1860s.
We actually don't know that. We need to look that one up. But as we're continuing...
Just think about it a little bit. Think about that. Look at Impressionist art. What is it of? It's of street-level performances. A lot of street-level, everyday fare.
Like how Hitler learned his speaking skills from a magician?
Is that true?
That's what I've heard.
That's one of the biggest things you've heard of today. I promise you that. But it's so mundane that it sort of distracted people of the time from thinking about any higher brow goals and ideals.
Think about how the older generation talks about cell phones in the youth. But just imagine that on steroids. Imagine taking a long trip to go to some museum or some gallery that wasn't Impressionist art.
We can do that now. Imagine. You had to travel on foot, by carriage.
So it's like a pilgrimage.
It's a pilgrimage to go and look at bullshit.
Well, I think they could look at those, outside on their farms if they wanted to, but...
They could have. Think about it. They could have done that. Instead, they went all the way over to the nearest museum and stared at art that looked like smears. And who was often depicted in this art? Other human beings.
But they don't look like real human beings. They look like these shadowy blob creatures, something that you'd see in a nightmare. And for Impressionist art to say that that's what the world looks to somebody, there's two options that you have there. Either that the person creating it truly sees a horrifying nightmare-filled vision, or they themselves don't see that and are purposely creating horror-filled nightmare visions and passing it off to dehumanize the masses.
When you witness this art, if you were to purchase this and sit in your villa all day, if you were one of the wealthier ones, one of your sole interactions with other human beings was to look at this art. So you integrate into your thinking, humans are not but shadowy smears on a canvas. And if someone were to put a gun in your hand at that moment and told you, these people aren't worth defending, they're worth disposing of.
And that would be self-fulfilling prophecy by other nobles who are the patrons of these artists and who are paying these artists to make these things to convince other nobles that things like authoritarianism and fascism in the 1860s are okay.
Hitler's dad probably did what we just described. And yet, we continue to revere this school of art. And think about it. You've probably heard of Monet. And you've probably seen his paintings here and there, which we'll get to in a bit. But, do you know the names of those paintings?
Yes. Well, some of them.
What is one of the names that comes to mind?
It's Sunrise. And it's such a... If he's trying to display that this is the real world, then why does he need to name it? Imagine sitting in front of a sunrise for hours on end, smearing your paint across the canvas, only for the end result to be so unrecognizable that you felt the need to label it sunrise. There is no doubt that this is some sort of fevered opium dream. Some fevered opium dream which is fueling finger painting, something that could be done by a child. I feel that cataracts are the only non-drug related explanation of how these people would think the real world looked like this. Cataracts and arthritis.
They probably had to take that opium to dull the pain of their cataracts and arthritis.
I don't think cataracts hurt, but I know arthritis does. So we're still okay. We're half right.
Yes, and that's the best right. So you have these drugged up hippies with their cataracts and arthritis producing art on the same level as a child finger painting. Do you know who reveres the finger painting of a child?
No, not really, except maybe a parent.
A soccer mom. Walk into the house of any soccer mom in the 21st century here in America.
Karen?
Yes, a Karen. Walk into Karen's household, and what will you see on the walls? Whose paintings will you see?
Van Gogh's?
Van Gogh's.
Monet's? Rembrandt is an impressionist, right?
No, I think he is.
List of impressionists?
Rembrandt. I just want to see what it looks like. I think I could tell. Art.
No.
Painting.
No.
No.
I'm not sure.
You will see impressionist art littering the halls, littering the walls. So ultimately, Impressionism is nothing but the 1800s equivalent of live, laugh, love.
So it's just mass-produced drivel.
It is absolute hogwash.
I mean, at least farmers are washing their hogs, but, you know.
We don't even have the decency to wash our hogs anymore.
So, it's a damn scam then?
Think about what live, laugh, love means. We don't really care. But it's nice. It's a nice slogan, right? It's something that people are willing to fork over money for to convince other people that they are good-natured human beings. Likewise, impressionist art is nothing but a scam to get us to fork over money to convince other people that we are intellectuals.
Unlike realism, which has, actual, productivity behind it, actual effort, actual artistic merit and value.
God bless the realists.
God bless the realists. Keeping it real.
And who's to blame for the blight that is Impressionism? Not us. We only know what we are taught.
So, would you say that it is Was there a conspiracy amongst the original Impressionists? I mean, if you think about it, Impressionism is fueled by opium, cataracts, and arthritis. And what's going on in America today? There's an opioid crisis. Which means that Impressionism is taught to the young, so then once they get old, they become the elderly and get hooked on prescription opioids that their doctors have been pushing them, and now they have arthritis and cataracts. That's the only type of art they can produce, and then they teach that art to the young to continue the cycle.
I thought that this was all a damn scam from the artist world. But the truth is, do you know who's really pushing Impressionist art on us?
Corrupt doctors?
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma! No! No, I can't.
This is what you let them do. But we here at The Big Think are here to dispel the myths and clear up the rumors. Impressionism is a tool of Big Pharma.
Viewers, since we've had this revelation, you need to spread this as far as you can. Within the coming months, the coming years, we might be found dead suspiciously. And if we're found dead, it was Big Pharma that did it. And a cabal of Impressionist artists.
Don't let them win.
Spread this revelation of ours. Make us go so big that they can't touch us. Because if they do, they'll know, everybody will know who the blame falls on.
If they are Big Pharma, we are the bigger think.
We are the biggest think.
This is the biggest of thinks.
With Boof
And Christian.
signing off. Also, we swapped our names.
But it was cool.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.